As promised, we are pleased to be joined right now by SU assistant coach Khyreed Carter of the women's program. Coach Carter, thanks so much for coming on. We do appreciate it. How are you? How's your summer going?
It's been wonderful. Just got off the road recruiting. Happy to get back in the gym. So it's been an awesome summer so far.
You mentioned recruiting. I know that Felicia Leggett-Jack has shuffled some things around this summer with the announcement from Sue Ludwig that she's going to step down and retire. And one of those moves that was made, you've been promoted to recruiting coordinator. Can you talk about how your role has changed on a day-to-day basis since this news was announced?
Yeah, it just means I'm at the front line when it comes to communicating with our recruits. I'm organizing us for travel, where to be, who coach needs to see. So my day-to-day just changed, more on the phone, less on the court, which hurts a little bit because I love being on the court. But I know for our program to continue to grow, this is a position that I can thrive in and help us take it to the next level and elevate.
And, I know there are some dead periods throughout the year, but it feels like recruiting is very much a 365-day, a year thing right now. And I know it's not every single day, but are there any downtimes for you where you can kind of catch your breath? Because, I would imagine that you're constantly, thinking what's next, who's next in terms of the recruiting game.
Yeah, absolutely. My mind is always thinking about what we need and positionally what we need, especially when I get into the gym and I see kind of what our next step is and how we can get to a national championship. But the WBCA has done it where they put 2 dead periods in for our entire women's basketball community, where there's 2 weeks out of the year that we can't recruit, we can't get on social media and communicate with athletes or anybody like that. So that shutdown's actually coming in about a week. So we're going to hit it hard for this next week, and then after that, we just have to shut it down with the rest of the country.
Talking about identifying talent and then recruiting that talent, we haven't seen any player more talented, I think, around here than De'Asia Fair. What was it like to work with her, with the transition from Buffalo to Syracuse and just kind of, be involved with her since day one? What was that like for you as a coach?
Oh, it was awesome. We get in this business to grow young people, and that's one thing De'Asia Fair, people don't see where she grew from as an incoming freshman to where she was sitting on that stage on draft night. The growth that young lady went through is what we all do it for and what we enjoy. Talent-wise, she's the most special player that I've ever come into contact with and ever got to work with. But her person and who she was able to grow into as a person, she did interviews at the WNBA draft, and I almost cried because when she came on her visit, she used to just give us a little shrug, wouldn't talk to people, wouldn't look eye to eye. So to see her sit on that stage and be able to communicate the way she did, that was, for me, the most rewarding part of being with her for the 5 years that I was with her. And that's what we do it for, to grow.
That's awesome. Well said, Coach, on that. What makes her so special as a player? You talked about her as a person in terms of on the court. What allowed her, given her height, we all talk about her, her stature and her height. How was she able to do what she did on a regular basis?
De'Asia grew up playing in the playground, playing at the YMCA. She grew up playing against guys. So for a 6-foot woman to be guarding her, it's nothing compared to the 6'4", 6'5" grown men that she was going up against at the YMCA or in the parks of Rochester. She just had a different mindset. She actually thoroughly loved playing basketball. You don't see that as much with this younger generation. They love it for the outside stuff, the NIL or the endorsements or the likes on Twitter and social media. But De'Asia thoroughly enjoyed hooping. Like, she was just a natural hooper that you get her in the gym, you call her and tell her you have a pickup run, she's throwing her shoes on and meeting you at the park, and that's just who she was. So when those teams threw double teams at her, she's used to being double teamed by grown men. So double teams from college women, it didn't faze her at all. And she just has a different mindset. She knew where she was trying to get to, and she was disciplined and understood what it took, and we pushed her, and she just continued to grow and continued to fly.
Coach Carter, one of the reasons that, we're having you on is we kind of want to get to know the staff. We had Kristen Sharkey on last week, and we had Coach Jack on the week before. And we're just trying to get to know you guys a little bit as people, not just as coaches. So if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself and I guess what got you into coaching. How did you end up doing this for a living?
I actually thought I was going to be on you guys' side of the table. I went to college with the idea of being a sports broadcaster. I grew up around sports. My dad was the vice president for the Big Ten Network, and so I was always around it. I was always involved with it, and I played. I wasn't as good as I could have been, but I went down to Southern Illinois to potentially walk on, and then I got hurt. And when I transitioned out of it, I went to Michigan State, and I got involved with the men's and women's program over there. So I got to learn from Tom Izzo, but who really got me into it was former head coach Susie Merchant. And after I did my time in undergrad, I got to the end and I said, you know, you guys get to talk about before a game, you get to talk about halftime, and you get to talk about after a game. But I wanted to be a part of impacting the game, and Susie Merchant gave me the opportunity to be a graduate assistant for the program, and I kind of got to see what the day-to-day, the ins and outs of behind the scenes look like with game planning and getting ready for a game and doing workouts. I learned from some really heavy hitters when it comes to the game. One of my mentors is Travis Walton, who is Draymond Green's personal trainer. And for every summer I worked with him, just understanding how to train, how to teach the game. And after my 2 years as a graduate assistant at Michigan State, I knew I could do it, and Coach Jack gave me the opportunity to be her director of basketball operations. And after a couple months, the assistant coach left. I'm like, Coach, I'm ready. I can take on this assistant coach spot. And she moved me up. And in our first year, we went to the Sweet 16. And since then, we've been locked in, going on year 8 now.
That's a great story, great journey that's led you here to Syracuse. I know that you're a girl dad, right? You've got 3 girls at home.
Yeah, 3 girls, so it never stops. I deal with the young ladies on our team, and then I go home and I deal with my 3 little ones and my wife. So if you ever see me and you see me out in public, give me a wave, because I need some of that testosterone, because these this women, they got my heart. But yeah, I'm a girl dad. That's what I do in my free time, is go be a great dad to them and be a great husband to my wife.
I love that. Does that impact the way you coach at all? That, you know, the fact that, you know, you've got, you know, 3 young girls at home that, you know, do you find yourself coaching, you know, the current players in college the way that you would want your daughters to be coached?
That's exactly what it is. And, you know, I get the empathy for my daughters. And then when I get on the court, I can kind of flip a switch and push our players to where they need to be. But it's a balance. And I try to have my daughters come around as much as they can. One, because it helps loosen Coach Jack up. She loves when my daughters get around. So the energy in practice shifts a little bit when they come. But just for them to see what it looks to grind, what it looks like to grind, what it looks like to try and be the best at what they do. Our players work so hard, and I really try and get my daughters, as young as they are, to see what it looks like to chase greatness, and what it looks like, and what the work looks like. And they know that, like, Daddy's on the road today. Daddy, are you going to be home today? They know that I'm gone and I'm out working. So it's important for me to show them what the fruits of the labor look like. And they enjoy it. They love coming to the games. They love coming to the gym. They're so excited about it. So it does help coaching, understanding that I'm trying to push our players the same way I hope somebody pushes my daughters in whatever it is that they decide they want to pursue, whether it be basketball or just whatever they pursue in life.
Yeah, what a great opportunity for them to learn life lessons from you. You know, we talked about De'Asia Fair and everything that she meant to you and to the program. She's obviously gone now and playing professionally overseas. What does next year's team look like without her, and how do you guys, you know, collectively move on, you know, try to pick up with the success of where, you know, the success you had with her, but how do you move on without her?
Yeah, I think it's exciting times, because we've had De'Asia as our safety net, and now it's kind of time to transition into a new regime, if you will. And we brought in some really talented young ladies that can play at a very high level. You know, you'll see us play a little bit different style, because De'Asia was so dominant with the ball, and she garnered so much attention that it allowed other people to play off of her. Now other people have to step into that spotlight. So we'll do it a little bit more collaboratively and a little bit more collectively. But it's been awesome to see our young ladies step into that next level for them. But what I want people to understand is that Deasia Fair was a part of our identity of a team, and we've created a brand of basketball that prides itself on toughness, prides itself on being physical. If you look at any of our games and the games, especially in the ACC that we won, we tried to out-tough every team that we played. And that identity is going to carry over whether or not Deasia was here or not. And it all comes from our head coach. That's who she is to the core. That's, we all know the fight that she endured this year. And our team takes on that identity. So we had some really, really good role players last year that are going to step into a little bit more prominent role for us, and they're excited about it. They're embracing it, but we have a really, really good group of players that came in that are going to help. Our young kids are going to play right away. Because they have to, but they're going to earn it. They're really, really good. But that identity, that brand, you're going to know when you play Syracuse women's basketball because you're going to feel it after the game because we're coming through your chest for a whole 40 minutes. We're going to pressure you for a full 40 minutes. And I think you'll start to see other players emerge. And I think Georgia Woolley hasn't gotten the respect she's deserved in our league in these first 2 years, being top 5 in our conference in steals, what she does for us defensively, and then she had us 5 or 6 games over 20 points in the ACC play, and I think it's time for her to take that next step as a player, and we'll see other players step up as well.
Coach, can you speak to the growing popularity of women's basketball? And we have seen the last couple of years the attendance figures grow here locally in the Dome. We've seen it grow around college basketball. I've watched a lot of WNBA this summer. The crowds, are growing, exponentially in the WNBA. It seems like it's really an exciting time to be a part of women's basketball.
Yeah, women's basketball is right now. That's our saying for the summer. Women's basketball is right now, and we're no longer waiting our turn. There's always been very talented players that have come in and out of this game, and now we're just. The media is just starting to take hold to it and seeing that, these players are valuable. And, to be honest with you, I think it all really kicked off with the NIL and the ability to make money off of their likeness, because now we're seeing the type of impact they can have on the financial piece of this game. And you see what Caitlin Clark was able to do and how she's been able to move masses with the ability to get people in the stands, commercials. And I think NIL has absolutely helped bring the attention to women's basketball, and I think it's going to continue to grow. The game it's a different game. The men's game, it prides itself a lot on athleticism, and on the women's game, it's a lot more skill based because we're not getting up and dunking everything or being the fastest on the floor. It's more skill, and we have some very, very talented players that are in our college game right now. We see what the WNBA is doing. Our Olympic team, they haven't lost a game in years. So our women's basketball has been alive and well, and now it's just starting to get the attention that it rightfully deserves. And I only think it'll continue to grow, especially with putting the faces of our women's players out in front of people. And they've shown that they can handle it, and they showed that they can move the masses with their popularity as well.
Coach, I really enjoyed this. We got to do this again. Thanks so much for coming on. I hope you can enjoy what's left of your summer. I know the college basketball season is going to be here before we know it, but thanks so much for coming on, and hopefully we can talk again here down the road.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, Khyreed Carter joining us here on the show. With that, we'll hit a timeout. Our final segment of hour number 1 coming up next, and then Jackson Roberts to lead off hour number 2. Dan from the Wildcat at 1:30. Back after this on ESPN Radio.